The co-main event. Gilbert Burns against Khamzat Chimaev.
What is it? The people's main event?
The people's main event. 20-4 for Gilbert Burns, 10-0 for Chimaev. Average fight time is considerably shorter for Chimaev, as you can see, 3 minutes 14. He has a decent height advantage and a decent reach advantage. Both got 6 wins by knockout. Chimaev has 4 wins by submission compared to 8 submissions by Gilbert Burns. The other thing that's worth mentioning is Gilbert Burns is a prolific submission artist, but has not been at welterweight. As a lightweight, he was armbarring people left and right, and he was very effective with it. But we've not seen him use that part of his game as much. I mean, I think the best example of his ground game was probably against Damian Maia, where he showed like awareness and ability to scramble without getting subbed, which is near impossible against Damian Maia. No decisions for Chimaev on his record, 6 for Gilbert Burns.
I think we talked about that Damian Maia fight before it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were talking about how they both were good grapplers, but Gilbert Burns was competing actively against the best now, so it's just like a younger, refreshed grappling version of Maia.
And it's kind of the same as what we were talking about with Mackenzie. Like, if you're fighting Damian Maia, you know for sure what he wants to do, and you know for sure what he's going to try and do. Unless you're Ben Askren, and that's the only time you get 2 wild cards come against one another. You've got a jiu-jitsu guy against a wrestler. So Damian Maia was like, okay, you take me down when you like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, but like any time an MMA fighter comes up against a specialist like Maia or Mackenzie, like you know what they're going to do. And Gilbert Burns' game plan was clear in that one. Like sub-defense, like use your awareness to stay out of trouble. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's going to have the ability to stop Khamzat taking him down, though. That's the point of difference. Like Khamzat is a wrestling specialist. I think he could stop Maia submitting him once it was on the floor, but I don't think he can stop Chimaev putting it there. And I don't know if his submission skills are of the level that they need to be to A, deal with most welterweights, especially at this top level, and B, for someone that would probably be a middleweight in a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this is a big. I know everybody's like really hyped about Chimaev, and I saw a few comments on the War Room of people going, "Oh, underestimating Gilbert Burns." I'm not underestimating Gilbert Burns at all. I know how good he is. I may be overestimating Chimaev, but I don't think I am. Like from what I've seen and the way he's done things, like you just don't manhandle the leech like that. Like John Phillips and Reece McKee, yeah, and they're not top 15 welterweights, but they're tough, durable individuals, and they were manhandled, and that they don't get manhandled by the majority of people. And he made it look easy. He's taken 3 or 4 punches in his entire career.
Yeah, and we saw that clip of Brian Stann. Was it?
Yeah, that was 2017. That was
2017.
Just shows you how good Brian Stann was at his job. Like, it is such a shame that he is no longer a commentator, because he was. I remember taking a photograph of him at Media Day when he was doing UFC 204. And I was doing like backstage interviews and stuff. So on Media Day, I think you guys were there as well. Like he was there, fucking full American dad get up with his clipboard, like going around and interviewing the fighters for his notes. That was before they started doing fighter interviews. And I remember taking a photo and posting it on my Instagram and being like, fucking Brian Stann doing his research. Good shit. Like 2017, He was like, hey, Chimaev's the guy.
He's like, everybody's talking about him. Like, he just, like, everybody in the gym just manhandles and beats up.
It's crazy. Yeah. So according to UFC stats, he's taken 1 significant strike in his whole career.
You know what I find interesting about this as well? It's that it's kind of the opposite approach of Ian Gary. Because they kind of, like, he kind of developed secretly in the background and just is coming up and like, that's it, I'm tearing through it.
Yeah.
And not the other way around, Even though like the amount of fights is the same, I don't feel like the level
but then,
of readiness for the title is the same.
But that's a great example. You've got Chimaev, who's 10-0, and Ian Gary, who's 8-0, and the point of difference is 3 years in age. Ian Gary's 24, Chimaev's 27. Like Chimaev in 2017, when Brian Stann was talking about him, may have been smashing everybody in the gym, but it might have been a little bit too much for him to step to the UFC level at that point.
Yes.
But by the time he was ready, when he came in and fought John Phillips in 2020, like he was ready to smash through everybody.
Yeah.
Like it's.
You say smash?
Of course I did. Of course I did. I don't know. I feel like I feel like he's landed at the right time and hit the ground running. And of course, you know, he's beaten two guys that most UFC fans don't rate too highly in McKee and Phillips, even though they are like domestically European level fighters alongside Chimaev. They were good matchups, and he just made it look too easy. Goes up to Meerschaert at middleweight and stops him in 17 seconds, and then manhandles the Leech in just over 3 minutes.
And that's one of the things that makes me worried for Gilbert Burns is the Leech is one of the biggest dudes in that division.
He's got a head like a concrete block.
Yeah. And the only thing is that fighters from China right now are having a little bit of difficulties with everything that's grappling.
Mm-hmm.
So Chimaev out-grappling him isn't as...
It's not surprising.
It's not as surprising. But the fact that he was able to just lift him and be in the fight and not like full on focus, because he was talking to Dana.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like... that's next level.
He's fucking around with him. He's playing with him. Yeah. But I think he's gonna have to have more respect for Gilbert Burns. But I also wouldn't be at all surprised if he just makes it look that easy.
Yeah.
Like imagine if Chimaev decides, okay, well, this guy's got great ground skills, but I saw Usman expose him on the feet with clean straight punches. We know he can throw clean straight punches. Anytime you see him doing pad work, there's no fucking stupid Mayweather punching pads behind the back and nonsense like that. He is hitting jab crosses and hooks. And when you watch him hitting pads with Darren Till, it's body kicks and knees. It's simple shit that he can integrate into his game very quickly and use it with devastating effect. He landed landed 4 punches on Meerschaert, but he landed 1 to knock him down, and the following ones were unnecessary. Mm-hmm. Like, the fight was done in 1 punch. I could see him doing the same thing to Gilbert Burns. I could see him bullying Gilbert Burns for the first sort of 2 or 3 minutes, pushing him around, stuffing his takedowns, blocking his shots, and then just TKOing him.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna. I love Gilbert Burns. He's a lovely dude, but I think this is gonna be brutal. I think this is gonna be fucking brutal, and I think we're gonna watch Chimaev and go, who else do you give him now? Who else is gonna want to fight him? Covington will move up to fucking middleweight. Adesanya will move up to light heavyweight. Like, Adesanya's picked Gilbert Burns. I'm like, dude, that's fucking wishful thinking, man. That's wishful thinking. Like, Chimaev would have a harder time taking the belt off Usman than he would against Adesanya. I don't doubt that for a second. Because I think Usman brings in a much more complete skill set as far as MMA goes, with wrestling being the core of it. Mm-hmm. And I think Adesanya's takedown offense game is improving quickly. But if I'm Chimaev watching Adesanya against Vettori, I'm not seeing myself bulldoze him into the fucking fence and get my takedown stopped like Vettori was. He's got way more finesse with his takedowns. Like, he'd be able to ground Adesanya and expose his bottom game, but his ground game, and be able to maul him. Like, I think Usman would be able to contend with him, but like someone commented in the in the War Room comments, they were like, oh, hating on Colby. I'm like, I don't particularly like the character that he's playing, but that doesn't mean I judge his skill set any differently, and I don't know as he's got what he needs to beat Chimaev. I think Colby would look like a lightweight against Chimaev. Yeah. You know? Like,
especially because I don't think he'll be able to out cardio Chimaev. Because by the sounds of it, he trains like a monster.
Like a monster.
And you have to think, Darren Till, he is a super high level. For him, he could have gone to Khamzat and then checked it out and just been like, you know what, this is hype and this is kind of BS.
Yeah.
I'm about to bounce before I get any worse. But he didn't.
No.
And that, you have to think about the caliber of fighter that Darren Till is and how technical and smart Darren Till is as well when he fights. If he gets caught because he gets a little bit too excited, that doesn't take away from his actual fight IQ. That's just, trying to be exciting for the fans. You can't have it both ways. Mm-hmm. But he's very intelligent in the way he moves and in the way he strikes. So for him to go to that and be like, no, this is pretty legit, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
Then that tells you something on top of as well. And when he fought Meerschaert, he only threw like that punch that knocked him out. But it was a very smart punch because he followed him, and then he went like from fence panel to fence panel and then punched him into it. So it wasn't just a lucky like heavyweight punch that landed.
No, it was clean and accurate.
Yeah, it was like very intentful. So okay, you can say that Meerschaert isn't the same, I guess, caliber like you want to test somebody, but look at the application of skills that Khamzat provided, and that's what's impressive.
Yeah. Like most of the time with Burns' knockouts, with Burns' punches, they come wild and over the top and stuff. The cleanest one, which I talk about in the war room, is the Damian Maia one, where he catches him with that kind of curving lead hook, kind of like a straight hook. It's a weird punch, but I don't know. I just feel like he's underpowered in this one in a lot of different ways, and I don't think if he wasn't able to submit. If he wasn't able to submit previous opponents, I don't think at welterweight, I don't think he's gonna be able to submit Khamzat.
Yeah, but the thing is, previous opponents probably wouldn't have gone like, "Hey, let me go to the mat with Gilbert Burns."
Yeah,
so they wouldn't have facilitated that aspect as much as somebody who wants to engage. But Gilbert did seem to struggle against Usman and Hooker, for example, with very straight punches, like the one that Khamzat did against Meerschaert.
Yeah. I've got to pick Chimaev.
Yeah,
I can't not pick. I think I'm picking first round stoppage as well.
I love Gilbert Burns as well.
Yeah, I know, he's such a nice guy.
He's such a thick boy, and his brother's coolest dude as well.
Yeah, I respect him for taking this fight. But I think he's going to be one of the next stages in proving how good Chimaev is. And he said he's not going to have one belt in the next 18 months. He's going to have two. That's what Chimaev's prediction is. What a fucking animal.
And he can very well do it.
Yeah.
He prepped himself. So when he went in the UFC, he's not during this learning process. He's during this taking over process.
Yeah.
It's straight domination to everybody else. And I respect that approach so much. Because I'm sure during his career, most people were like, you should be in the UFC, you should be that. And I don't know what he actually did towards it, if this just happened to happen like this. But the fact that he was
been at All-Stars for ages,
ready,
hasn't he?
yeah.
I mean, they're and you know what All-Stars is like yourself. It's such a deep mat with a lot of different and skilled talent and a lot of big guys as well. You got to think Gustafsson was training there, and then after he beat Manoa, Manoa went over and started training there. And they're both light heavyweights and big light heavyweights, and they've both talked about Chimaev. You got Reza Madadi talking about Chimaev, who's on the mat all the time there.
And his coach is saying that no one's ever submitted Chimaev before.
That's scary. Ever. That's a statement that you don't hear very often. Yeah, no, he's never been submitted in this gym.
Well, that's what the statement was. If it's true or not, I don't know. I
know
wasn't
that's
at
what I'm
every
saying.
single training session, but
that's what I'm saying is if Andreas Michael was saying that, if one of the coaches was saying that, it's because it's true. It's not because they're just kind of that's a scary thought. He's ranked at 11 right now. Gilbert Burns is ranked number 2. If he beats Burns, if he beats him in the first round by stoppage, I wonder what that's going to do to the rankings. I wonder if there's anybody above him that would speak up and go, hang on, just for instance, imagine Burns loses by first round stoppage, and and I know this doesn't work like this, but if they just switch places in the rankings, no one's going to complain about Gilbert Burns dropping down below Michael Chiesa in the rankings, but who's going to complain about Chimaev being dropped in at number 2? Because below him, then you would have Edwards, Luque, Bilal Muhammad, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Masvidal, Sean Brady, Neil Magny and Chiesa. Maybe Neil Magny might go, hang on a minute, motherfuckers. I've been here for ages.
He has been calling him out as well the whole time, so he's probably one that will.
But then what do you think he'd do to Neil Magny?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, he did call him out.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
He's been one that's been trying to get him to fight him.
But of all of the guys on there, he's Neil Magny's one of the ones I think would have probably the least chance against him. I honestly don't think any of those guys would have much of a chance. Maybe Wonderboy, if he can force it into a striking exchange, he might have some skills that can cause Chimaev problems. But
I like Sean Brady.
I do. Yeah, I think he's
really sick grappling.
Yeah,
I mean, didn't he win a decision against Craig Jones? Yeah. That would be interesting. I just feel like not only the skill, but also he's so much bigger than all these guys.
Yeah. But he's 5'10" and heavily muscled, so he's going to have a height and reach disadvantage to Chimaev, and I think Chimaev's conditioning and wrestling might be too much for Sean Brady still. What is he? Brady's 15-0, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's undefeated.
I don't know. I mean, again, I may be overestimating Chimaev. We may all be. I just don't think we are. I think
Might
when
be
we
like
see
a Johnny
someone,
Walker moment where
Yeah, I
he did
don't-
like
but it's
three
not,
crazy
though.
knockouts.
That's the thing. It's not, because like Johnny Walker came in and was like, holy shit. He's like flying at these guys. It's fucking crazy. It's like a jumping knee and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Whereas Chimaev, he just walks you up against the fence and knocks you out with a straight cross. Like, there's nothing fancy about what he's doing. Manhandles the person to the floor, controls that wrist, and then just fucking pounds their face into canvas. It's scary. I fucking love it. I love it. It's brilliant to watch.